Hello, learners. Welcome back to our segment, right? We handled the first part of this question in our previous class. If at all you've not watched that class, below this link, below this video, we have a link which we've attached the first class that we did for part one of the question. So, part two of the question, these are what you're asked. Believing that the question is visible to all of us, these are what you're asked on part two. We're told that assuming that the firm is of a good credit rating and that it chooses to borrow the funds instead of using its savings, the firm has two alternative financing options of raising the funds as provided below. Option one is to finance using finance company. The firm can borrow from a finance company, which requires it to make 5 annual equal installments of 277 and 63.75, of course, covering both principal and interest at the same time. Option two, insurance company. The insurance company requires the firm to make a lump sum payment of 1850, covering both principal and interest at the end of 5 years. So required here, a good examiner wants us to, using suitable computations, advise the management of the firm on the suitable financing option to apply. Then see the marks that you're given. 6 good marks. You're given 6 good marks by our examiner here. So drag this question at this point, believing that we have it. So just drag it below. Still is visible, I believe. So once you're given this question, as I've always mentioned, even to create that good mood when you're doing this paper, just smile. What will it cost you if you smile? What will it cost if you smile? Nothing, of course, but rather good energy, right? Positive energy, positive energy. So in this case, option one, we start by looking at option one. Option one, we can see that we were supposed to approach option one, we were approaching a finance company so that they can give us, of course, the money to buy or to purchase this van instead of us using our savings, which is okay. But if at all you approach this finance company, what are the terms? The terms will be number one, I'm going to pay installment amounting to, we're going to pay installments, which in this case we had a value of 277,963.75. See, 277,963.75. But what were we told? Covering both principal and interest, and you're supposed to pay 5 equal installments. So, in this case, by the fact that the good examiner confined us to that this value had a component of principal and interest. So we can easily determine what will be the expected value as at the end of the period, the future value. So our future value, therefore, in this case, we can all agree that I'll be having the amount per installment, which is 277,963.75 by 5, which would give us 1,389, 1,389, 818.75. So these are what we should be having as our future value. And what we need to determine is current. What is our present value today? So our present value today, we know very well because it is a lump sum value. So we'll take our future value, we multiply by, of course, 1 plus r raised to power negative n, which is our factor. Present value, interest, factor. Not annuity, but lump sum. And we had already determined that. Remember, we had already determined that on our previous class, which we got 0.4761. So our task here will be easy. I'll just be taking then my present value today. I should be having present value, that is the cost. We should be having, of course, 1389, the value that we determined, 1389, 818.75. We multiply by our factor, which is 0.4761, 0.4761. So that as at the end of the day, what will be your value? As at the end of the day, we multiply by 0.4761, which in this case, Mwalimu is getting a value of 692.70. That is the cost for option number 1. We proceed to option number 2. What was so sweet about option number 2? What was so sweet about option number 2? Yeah, we check out what you're given on option 2. Option 2, we were to approach option 2, we were to approach the insurance. Yeah, option 2, we were to approach the insurance company, where we have option 2 is to approach an insurance company. So what were the terms for this insurance company? The terms were as follows, where in this case, of course, you're given installment value, or in this case, the good examiner has given us the whole bit, the lump sum, as at the end of the day. Lump sum value that you are going to pay, inclusive of interest, we are given 1,850,000, inclusive of interest. Inclusive of interest. So once given that, of course, the next thing will be easy. Yeah, I can now remove the question. I believe we have everything now, so we don't need this question anymore. We don't need this question anymore. So we can just remove this part. Yeah, you can just drag it down completely. So same script will apply. I'll be required to determine our present value, and you know very well that this was the formula for the present value. So therefore, my future value in insurance company, I'll be having 1,850,000. We multiply by our factor, which is 0.4761. No need to struggle. Just understand the concept right. Therefore, we should be having 1850. We multiply by 0.4761, where Mwalimu is getting a value of 800. So this is a value that you're getting, right? 785,000. So once we have that, remember, it is upon us now to advise this company. Of course, we have two options, option 1 and option 2. We can all agree that option 1 is cheaper, right? So if I told you to advise the company, then they should go with option 1, where we have 661,692.70 compared to option number 2, which you can see option 2, honestly, this is quite expensive, right? This is quite expensive. This is quite expensive. So at this point, my good students, remember, like such questions, when you find them, you should always be smiling. If at all you have the right concept, right? It will really, really help you a lot. So to this point, these are what we are required to do in this question. So always when we are talking of advising, we've said you should always look at it in two concepts: the aspect of cost and the aspect of revenue. If at all it is cost, select the one with the lower cost. If it is revenue, select the one with the highest revenue. Like in this context, we are taking the one with the lowest cost. So guys, our classes are on. All the units for CPA, they are on. And we have two packages: the live virtual and pre-recorded version. They are very efficient. They are very, very efficient. You will be like, Mwalimu, right now I don't have enough funds to join the class. So what? Don't worry. What is the worst that will happen if at all you call us and tell us that, you know what, currently I don't have this. Can we agree on a payment plan? So that these papers, anytime we see financial management or any paper for CPA, we shouldn't be like, this is very complex. No, it's always very enjoyable, and if at all, you enjoy the ride as well, right? So I want to take this opportunity to invite you guys to our classes which are on, and you can always reach us out on this number, 0708 068 851. If you reach us out on that number, we'll be here to assist you. And I want us to take CPA to be a very enjoyable a very enjoyable course, right? So it shouldn't be like, oh, Kasnebo, no, it's a very enjoyable course, right? So this point, guys, if at all you've not watched part one of the question, I've also attached the link just below this video. Kindly watch it out. We also have financial reporting. We also have, of course, MA, PFT, talk about advanced FM, advanced FR, literally all the units for CPA. So join us today and let us enjoy the ride together. To that point, thank you so much. See you in our next session. Bye-bye.